Yo, what's up, you guys? It is Wednesday, June 4th, and we are back with another TnS Daily review. So, really quick, just to jump right into things, we actually had a trade that triggered in pre-market that actually bled into open, which means it will be counted towards our stats because we're not here to bend the rules, just because, I want to trade to win or anything like that. If it gets triggered, if, the entry gets tagged in here at 9:30, and it hits stop loss, it will be counted because 9:30 is our official time to start tracking these trades. And this one actually did get tagged in right at 9:30 here, and it did end up being a loser, and that's okay. But it will be counted towards our stats. So you can see here at 9:30 hit the higher entry here, and the lower entry got stopped because the lower entry was somewhere in here. 35-point stop doesn't survive. But even the higher entry, let me back up here so we can see the higher entry stop loss is up here. So I'm going to do is mark out the stop loss for it for the higher entry, and you can see it does get hit as well. Okay, so trade number one would be a loss for both. Okay, and now as that long entry, or no, sorry, as the first short entry gets stopped, we actually get a second short entry up here from a gap that was from yesterday that never got tagged in. And so you enter here for the lower entry, as you can see, 57 points. It actually did end up getting TP, and the TP for it is way down here. Why is that? It's because this candle taps the FEG for the very first time. You look to the left, it's going to be that low. Okay. And so it did get TP for 57 points. So trade number two would be a win for both versions because this is TnS version 2 as well. Switches to V2 mode. You can see the entries are the same, which means it's, also version 2. So trade number two is a win for both. Once again, okay. So we'll just let this short play out so you can see it did hit TP right there. And if you held a runner, you actually could have got about 100 points out of it. A little over that. 119 points on the runner there. But let me back up because there was a long setup in here that actually failed because of that short getting TP. So remember, the short TP is down here, and that's going to cut through this long setup. And so this was actually TnS version 1 for the long. As you can see, it's a bullish high that overlaps with this bullish FEG, which means it's only version 1. So TnS version 2 does not take this loss, but it was a loss either way, just for version 1 for the long setup here. So as you can see, it did fail there. So trade number 3 would just be a loss for version 1 only. And moving on now, we have another short here that also actually ended up failing. It was a version 2 short. Stop loss up here. The TP would have been this low right here. And it did fail. As you can see, it got stopped, and even the higher entry also got stopped as we kept going up there. So trade number 4 for version 1 is a loss. And that's going to be trade number 3 for TnS version 2, because remember, TnS version 2 did not take that long entry. That was also a loss. It did not take that trade. But this one is a loss. Okay. Now, moving on from that short entry that lost, we actually leave another long setup here that took a little minute to play out, but it did end up winning. So you enter there, and this one actually is a version 1 long as well. So you enter there with the TP up here. Let's just double check that this is only version 1. It is. And so remember, version 1 only takes this trade. It's a 35-point stop right there. And it got really close to stop loss, but did not hit it. If I zoom in here, you can see it did not hit the stop. It actually got 33 points in drawdown, which means it was 2 points away from being stopped, but it never did get stopped out. And then your TP is the same for 35 points here at that high. As you can see, the indicator says it, and then we finally went there. Okay. So trade number 5 is a win for version 1 only because this was a version 1 long. Remember, it was a bullish FEG, and the high that overlapped was also a bullish candle, which means it's version 1. So trade number 5 for version 1 is a win. Okay. Now, up here, this was actually the last setup of the day. This long setup here, it was TnS version 2. It was just for negative R, but it did end up playing out. Pretty solid win here for about 20-something points, I believe. So yeah, you can see the indicator picks it up. And since, okay, so let me zoom in here so we can see. So since this candle taps the FVG for the first time, you look to the left, this high was swept. And then we get the TnS entry, which means you have to use the TnS entry to realign for your target. So TnS entry is on this candle here, the 140 candle. You look one candle to the left. That would make this right here your TP, and that's why it's there for 21 points. And it did get hit. This was for both versions. So this trade was a win. Back it up here so we can get the risk to reward right. So yeah, trade number 6 would be a win for 0.6R, and that is for 21 points. And once again, that is a win for both. It's going to be trade number 4 for TnS version 2. Okay, and then we just kept going, and that was basically the last setup of the day. Just trying to fast forward here. That's about 340. And then, yeah, as you can see, we hit 4 o'clock. Remember, this gap was already used, so we're not looking to use it again. And we couldn't even tap into this one. But yeah, that's basically it. Okay, so we got our stats now for TnS. Let's tally them all up and get our final results. All right, so these would be our final results for both versions. TnS version 1 with 0.2R on the day. That's with 8 points, and that is with 3 wins and 3 losses. TnS version 2 with 0.2R on the day as well, and that's with 8 points and 2 wins and 2 losses. So kind of interesting how TnS versions 1 and 2 end up with the same exact stats. However, they, TnS version 1 had 2 extra trades, 1 extra win and 1 extra loss, while TnS version 2 had less trades, but they still end up the same, which is, I think that's probably the first time that's ever happened. But yeah, guys, pretty much a break-even day today. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this daily review. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.